Time and temperature from TD Bank.
Hey, did you see that Jets game last night? What an ending. But it's what happened to Aaron Rodgers that has everybody talking.
It's also time to get down to business with the leader of the nation's largest city. Mayor Adams live in studio talking about what matters to New Yorkers.
And these days, you know, it feels like if it's raining, it's flooding. You saw what we've been through in the last 3 days. And it wasn't lost on us that the storms yesterday ended in an incredible double rainbow. You could see it from all over the tri-state, including right over our studios. And by the way, that means just in time for the debut of our new show.
Live from New York's #1 News with Shirleen, Allicot, Mike Marza, and Sam Champion. This is Eyewitness News Mornings at 10.
Wow. Oh, we're here.
Yeah.
What an exciting day for Channel 7. We get to say for the very first time, welcome to Eyewitness News Mornings at 10.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, it feels
I like
good.
the sound of that. Certainly things look a little bit different. We got a circular table. We're very proud about the new table. It's got the new set smell. So we're excited about that. Listen, you're going to get the same great Eyewitness News coverage you expect every day, but with hopefully a totally different vibe.
Yeah, we're going to be having a lot more conversations about the things that matter to you and us because we all live here. And always in New York, there's breaking news, and we have some this morning. Mike, we've got information that we've got shut down on services in Penn Station.
Yeah, certainly breaking news that we've been following, and it's going to impact the tail end of the morning commute.
Yeah.
It certainly is. Let's go to Anthony Carlo. He is live actually in Penn Station right now, where service has been disrupted. Anthony, tell us about it.
Well, that's right. Service has certainly been disrupted. We are in Penn Station, and whenever you see a lot of riders just standing in the corridor here with their arms crossed, looking up with those big TV screens up there with a number of delays, you know that they are not in a good mood. But this is the reality right now. We are towards the latter part of the morning rush, of course, but there are still a number of passengers here looking at those delays. Look, just a number of them. Trenton Transit Center delayed, Summit delayed, MSU, Bayhead, Boston, Dover. The list goes on there as people wait here anxiously to find out when exactly they will be able to get on the train. From what we understand, this was an issue on track 10. Track 10 and what's being called a minor slow speed derailment affecting primarily New Jersey transit riders. Again, plenty of them here waiting for answers here again, but Midtown Direct service is being diverted into Hoboken. We actually want to show you what the scene looks like there as well. Crowds of people there in Hoboken. Now, New Jersey Transit says that rail tickets and passes are being cross-honored by PATH at Newark, Penn Station, Hoboken, and 33rd Street, New York, as well as New Jersey Transit bus and private carriers. Now, back here at Penn Station here, we also are meeting with some of the riders being impacted by what's going on this morning. Greg here we caught up with is supposed to be headed to Summit right now, but the commute has not been the way you envisioned it, Craig.
No, it hasn't. I mean, I got here an hour ago and just said delayed. We've recently had the information there's a derailment. Hopefully everyone's safe, but yeah, who knows when that's going to fix itself and I can get on my way again.
Now, I was just overhearing some of the employees here, of course, telling people everything is delayed, no information really as far as when things will resume again. Have you heard anything different?
Heard absolutely nothing, other than, you know, as you said, the PATH, we can get that out of Hoboken, but other than that, don't know when anything's going to start, so just hanging around, seeing if there's more information.
It's kind of screwing up your plans for today.
Just a little bit, yeah, but, you know, as long as everyone's safe, that's the main thing, so.
He brings up a good point there, and as far as we know right now, there are no injuries reported. Again, this is being called a train derailment, likely a mechanical issue, but of course we'll have further details on what exactly has caused the issues that you're seeing. Penn Station, though, frustrated commuters, hoping to get some resolve to this situation soon. We're live here at Penn Station. Anthony Carlo, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Good to know, Anthony. Thank you. Minor derailment, no injuries. Been going on for at least an hour, so we'll see if it stacks up as we go through the morning.
It has a ripple effect. not.
On the roads, definitely on bridges.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Well, it's been a frustrating morning for some New Jersey commuters, but also an up-and-down night for Jets fans, and a lot of them holding their breath because you don't have to be a football fan to get caught up on what went down at MetLife last night.
No, you do not. Jets game last night was more than just sports. It was filled with drama, agony, and a thrilling triumph. It all unfolded on the national stage on Monday Night Football in the primetime spotlight. The Jets facing the Buffalo Bills, and on the Jets' fourth play, Aaron Rodgers tackled.
And that's the thing. At first look, it seemed
right there. Right?
Yeah, it was right there. It seemed pretty typical, like a normal tackle, in this case, what's called a sack. But immediately he stood up and then went back down. And so a lot of people were like, oh, my gosh, what's going on? This is Aaron Rodgers, the fourth play of his career under center for the Jets. Carted off into the locker room, did not return to the game. And the head coach, Robert Saleh, said this, fearing the worst right after the action.
Concerned with his Achilles. MRI is probably going to confirm what we think is already going to happen. So prayers tonight, but it's not good.
All right, so this is the big talker all day long. I want to get involved in it, even if I'm not so into sports, so I want to understand the whole injury. Joining us live to discuss this particular kind of injury, sports medicine orthopedic surgeon at Northwell Health, Dr. Ajay Padaki. So first questions, doctor. You know, what's an Achilles tendon? What does it do? What can you not do if it's ruptured or injured like that?
So the Achilles tendon is the largest tendon in the body, and it attaches the calf muscle to the calcaneus, or the heel bone. And it allows you to push off and really jump. And when you have a rupture, you're unable to really even walk, let alone play sports.
Oh, wow.
So we haven't actually confirmed it yet, but usually even without an MRI, it's something we can diagnose clinically because you can feel a gap in the tendon. So I think that with the coach and players saying that they're worried about it, there's probably a pretty high likelihood.
Yeah, and doctor, there's some close-up images online, video, sort of the social media doctors analyzing what happened, reporting some sort of ripple, maybe perhaps in the view of the calf. Again, the MRI underway. But doctor, you know, I was reading, I know a buddy, I was at the Y one time, and his Achilles snapped. It is gruesome to see in person. This is not a professional athlete, one of these weekend warriors. And I was reading that after the pandemic, the Achilles injury actually went up as people returned to more activity. How common is this for people who just play tennis or even now maybe pickleball, basketball on the weekends?
It's incredibly common. I mean, in the NFL, you're talking about 5 to 10 players a year. But I just saw someone yesterday that was playing pickleball and ruptured their Achilles tendon. So you're exactly right that we talk about it being in a weekend warrior, where it's someone that's playing sports, usually in their 30s and 40s, that then has a sudden hole in the setting of already having a little bit of tendinosis. And people usually describe that they feel like they were kicked in the back of their leg, only to look up and see that there was no one around them.
Wow. Dr. Padaki, one last question for you. We heard from Coach Saleh. He said for a career, for a 39-year-old, it could actually end his entire career, this type of injury. As we look forward for Aaron Rodgers, what do you believe could happen next for him?
Yeah, obviously impossible to predict, but there are large epidemiological studies showing about a 60 to 70% return to play in NFL players. So you're looking at somewhere around that range. Obviously, he's 39, 40 with a full year of recovery ahead of him if this is in fact an Achilles rupture. So at earliest, you're talking about returning sometime into next season. He's a quarterback and not a basketball player like Kevin Durant or Kobe Bryant, who have had similar injuries. So he doesn't need to rely on his mobility as much, but it could be a career-ending injury.
Dr. Padaki, thank you. That's not what any of us wanted to hear.
And fingers crossed, you know, fingers, toes, all of that. Wishing the best. We expect to hear more from a team MRI later on today. Again, Aaron Rodgers, not what you want to see, debuting an exciting time. But the game started that way, and it ended in such a thrilling finish. So many Jets fans up and down all night because this game was all about drama. And at the end, it was about celebration in a lot of ways.
It really was. Even without Aaron Rodgers, Gang Green was able to take Buffalo to overtime. And then this happened.
Gibson runs under it at the Jet 35. Starts to his left, gets to the 40, turns the corner at the 45, 50. Blockers in front at the 40, at the Bills 30, inside the 20. Stutter steps to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown!
Such a New York moment.
Look, I mean, I'm not the biggest football fan, mostly because of what happens to my household, my husband. But to see that play, it was gripping. I couldn't take my eye off of it. The Jets pulling off that upset win over the Bills in overtime thanks to that amazing punt return by Xavier Gibson.
And by the way, he's a rookie, Sam.
Right, he's only 22, right? So here's a young man that they say didn't even know if he was going to make the team until they told him, I guess what, just before the very end of training camp. So here's the moment he found out, which makes this even better because here's this kid that makes the big play. Young man.
Well, look, man, you know the odds are stacked against you from the jump, man. You did a lot of good things this camp, man. Yes, we appreciate your hard work. Just want to let you know, man, you're a New York Jet.
Why you scared me?
Welcome to the team, brother.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. I had a long 20-minute drive back, man.
I know.
No, you earned it, bud. You're gonna do a lot of good things for us this year.
And
just did. Just did.
Yeah, they were the focus of Hard Knocks on HBO, where they let these cameras inside to capture all of the behind the scenes as they led up to what they expected to be a super exciting season, which it still is. Fingers crossed again.
So, I mean, just so you know, going forward, Mike, sports fan, we'll know everything about it. Shirleen and I, we're into it for the people, right? We're into it for the people.
Last night they had a lot of lightning and thunder at the beginning of the pregame festivities.
Right, and it was a mess because what has it been, like 3 days now? And so our rainfall totals over the last couple of days are 3.5 inches of rain to 4 inches of rain in some locations. So this is a real mess. We wake up to better looking skies this morning. Right now we've got full on sunshine. Haven't cracked the 70-degree mark yet. We're still at about 69. Though we are, look at Newark, has always been running warmer these days, and it is at 76 degrees and 73 around on the Jersey Shore. I love that shot. The skies just look good this morning. We're going to get more and more sunshine, and I'm going to favor sunshine as we go through the morning. 80 degrees is an easy get to by about 2 o'clock this afternoon, but I think we're going to stop it at around 82 degrees. Just to give you a look that tomorrow, and when we use a term like precipitable water, it's how much moisture is in the air and how much of that can come down in a rainfall total. So that's 2 inches tomorrow. So we could have another really soaking day. It comes very early in the morning, so in big weather, we're going to be talking about that drive time mess.
Precipitable water.
Precipitable water.
I'm taking notes, learning everything as we continue. In fact, we're just getting started here on this first edition of Eyewitness News Mornings at 10. Coming up, look who's here in studio with us.
Hey!
Oh, hello, Mr.
Mayor Adams. Thank you for making the time. We're going to be talking about so many topics on your mind at home. A lot to discuss with the mayor coming up.
In fact, Mayor Adams, we got this question from Vidu in Queens asking how the city plans to feed, house, and educate migrants without putting the burden on middle-class New Yorkers. We're going to talk migrants, of course. We're going to talk cost of living and so much more when we come back.
Tonight, the strongest words yet from New York Mayor Adams about the challenges and costs New York City is facing from an influx of asylum seekers.
This issue will destroy New York City. Destroy New York City.
Even today, right now, we're still struggling for civil rights because there are people who condemn us without even knowing us.
Take them home with you.
Class started today for nearly 1 million New York City public school students against the backdrop of a looming bus driver strike.
Yeah, teachers and administrators say that they are also concerned about reading levels.
All of these things, we have to still produce a product that will allow our children to be ready for the future. We build more new supportive homes and homes for formerly homeless New Yorkers than any year in New York City history. But we're going to be the cleanest big city in America. You may not know it, but I hate rats.
Why have we tolerated this for so long?
Still hate rats.
Welcome.
You know what's interesting? That the biggest transformation people are making as Eric as mayor is that I'm a plain talking New Yorker. I don't search through a thesaurus to find what's your comfort level. I'm just a New Yorker. Like the energy of this show. You know, you bring this unique energy. And so you go from these plastic very rigid mayors, and now you got this earring-wearing, different type of mayor. And people, that's just
It's true we haven't heard it in a while. That is true. That's true.
Adams, not one to mince words. You are real talk, okay? Real talk.
For real New Yorkers.
You are a New Yorker. And a New Yorker like you, very busy, as we just saw. Very busy man. You are everywhere. So I would love to know, I think we all do, what keeps you up at night?
Migrants. Issue.
Wow, right off the top.
Migrant issue. And it's not the migrants. What we're doing to the migrants, it is wrong. The precursor to sleep that allows us to experience the American dream is the right to work. There's nothing more tragic than having people come to this country and say you can't provide for yourself. When I spent the night in the migrant shelter and spoke to migrants, they said, we don't want anything free from you, Eric. We just want to work. And for us not to do that, it is impacting long-term New Yorkers, and it's impacting migrants.
I know you've been calling on the federal government to issue that work permit authorization for these asylum seekers. I'm just curious, when was the last time you talked to President Biden about the situation?
I haven't communicated with him since earlier this year. I spoke with the White House Chief of Staff yesterday and shared some of my thoughts and ideas, and the economic impact of it, the long term. Because remember, we have to find $5 billion. Now, who need governmental services? You and I, we would survive if we didn't have those services every day. But low-income, struggling New Yorkers, I have to go into their budget now and take that money out of their budget. And I think it's really reckless of the controller of the city of New York to state that this is not a real crisis, when he's supposed to be watching our dollars.
I feel like you've been very clear on stating that they need to work. They want to work, and I think you've been calling on Washington a lot. Where do we stand on that? Is there any progress? Do you see? How do you feel about it? Do you feel like you'll get there?
Well, the congressional delegation is really joining our call. The governor's call, joining our call. Business leaders. We have thousands of jobs. That's the irony of it. Like, we needed lifeguards over the summer.
Yeah.
We could have filled those jobs. We need various levels of employment. And so we're hoping that the federal government looks at what we're saying and make it happen. Because I can't break the law and say, I'm going to allow you to work anyway. Now, people are working. So we're creating a black market of employment, low wages, women are being sexually exploited, workers are being treated unfairly. So you see the increase in prostitution in our city because people have to provide for their families. And it is really going to impact the quality of life in our city if we don't get this issue resolved.
You said it. There were really profound words from you, Mayor.
Yes.
Destroy the city.
Yes.
And it seems like you're trying to reckon with something. Real talk, like you just said, but also trying to keep New York what it has always been for immigrants. I'm an immigrant.
Yes.
Many of us
Yes.
are immigrants. And as we know, immigrants did help build this country. So how do you try to reckon with both of those?
Well, first, we don't allow people to take that honest conversation of preparing New Yorkers and distort the reality. I was very clear. You heard the quote. I didn't say immigrants, migrants are going to destroy our cities. They contribute to our city.
It's the issue.
You have what's happening in our country right now. You have the far, far left and the far, far right.
Politicizing what you're saying.
They're co-conspirators. They're the same co-conspirators that said everyone should be given a gun. And the far, far left has said if they're caught with a gun and commit a crime, they shouldn't be bothered or touched. So you're finding these co-conspirators that divide in our city and country when everyday taxpayers, New Yorkers and Americans are in the middle and just saying we want clean, safe cities so that we can raise healthy children and families.
And to that point, and we only have a couple of more minutes in this particular section, but a lot of us are parents out there. I've got a friend, Fred, for instance, in Bay Ridge. He's saying, I want to stay in New York City, but costs are going up. Next year, I may be dinged with more than $20 to drive to the office in Midtown. What do you say? What is the case to tell New Yorkers who are saying, all right, I'm out.
Yeah,
It's
it might be
too
priced out.
expensive.
Right.
It's too dirty. It's all these other things. I can't deal with it anymore.
And that's a great point. First of all, we have to move from how we felt to how we are feeling. Sometimes you're living in how you felt. I know how people felt in January 1st, 2022. Crime was surging. Crime is down. Shooting is down. 5 major categories of crime have decreased. Subway system is back. 3.8 million riders. 99% of our jobs are back. Tourism is back. We're going to be one of the last, probably, what we're doing around containerizing our garbage, clean. You may not know it, but I hate rats.
Rats.
So,
great line.
So you are seeing tourism coming back. So the city is back. And I know how people felt.
Yeah.
I'm saying to them, look how you feel. Look at the presence of your police officers. Look at the union contracts that we have settled. I just came from Amazon. Their corporate headquarters in the old Lord & Taylor building. 2,000 employees are now coming back to the job 3 days a week. So there's a recovery process. We don't need anything to get in the way of that recovery. You know, but this city is not coming back. The city is back.
Well, and we will be back because there's much more to talk about. If you don't mind hanging out with us, it's so great to have Mayor Adams here in the studio on our first edition of Eyewitness News Mornings at 10. We'll be right back with the mayor.
Welcome back, everyone. It seems like you are a big part of our every night newscast anyway, right? So we see you everywhere making announcements, going to where the issues are. One of the things I like about your office now is when there's a problem, you seem to show up there, right? You're there.
Right.
And getting at that, you know, without just being like kudos to everybody for everything they do, just give me an idea of what your schedule is so that people understand, if there's any sleep involved in this, right?
You know, I do not recommend my life. You know, I'm normally up at 4. I would meditate, you know, think about mom a lot. And then I would exercise, do my prayers, take a green smoothie, and, you know, then read the papers or, you know, find out what's going on. And then the day, you know, until probably 1 a.m., 12:30 a.m., I am rocking and rolling. This is a city that never sleeps. So I can't take a nap.
Yeah, I get it. I understand.
Sam knows.
We know that schedule around here, too. So.
Speaking of that green smoothie,
yes.
We know about your journey with your, you know, health changes that you've made with your diet due to, I think it was type 2 diabetes.
Yes.
And how radically it changed.
Without a doubt.
Whole life.
Everything.
You've been telling that narrative. Talk about the veganism.
And it's really plant-based.
Plant-based,
right.
Not fully hardcore vegan,
well,
right?
you know, people tell you all the time, plant-based, and you should never deny yourself. You know, it's about, I'm perfectly imperfect. I'm not trying to be perfect. And so if I feel like eating something that I know I'm not supposed to, then so what? It's what you do the majority of the time. You know, my vision returned. The ulcer went away, high blood pressure, everything. I dropped, you know, 30-something pounds.
Wow.
You know, listen, I don't have a six-pack. I have a case. My body's tight.
Let me just tell you, like you and I grow up. So last night, I decided to make a vegan dish. I think I might have some pictures of that. I made tea, completely vegan. You know, I'm Caribbean.
Love it.
So,
yes.
We made chickpea and potato curry with coconut milk and
I like the bread up top. Tell me.
Okra.
That actually looks good.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I'm trying to introduce plant-based meals to these children.
I am loving it.
That's little Wes. I think he has a smile on his face.
You've talked about schools as well, trying to do that.
Yes. And you know, the thing is, you know what's interesting? If we raise, our palates are adjustable to what we do. We give it salt, oil, sugar, all of these unhealthy things. If we raise our children to having a good diet, then it would be part of their overall life.
Well, Jets fans feasting on a lot of action last night. I know you're a Jets fan. I got to ask you about this game.
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers goes down 4 snaps in. Your first thought?
I said, O-S.
Right. A lot of people thought that. We're fingers crossed. We'll see what the MRI plays out. But then Xavier Gibson wins the whole thing for them at the end. What do you make of what what went down.
New York story. You know, I know that sometimes something devastating could happen, but it also can motivate the team. Our team we have been motivated from the COVID, from crime to asylum seeker crises, and sometimes it brings together and it gels you for the purpose. So a dark moment is not necessarily a burial; it could be a planting, and we may see a planting of a real successful season.
They sure did rally.
Mayor Adams, thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you. Good luck on the show.
Enjoy it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mayor, thank you. When we come back, we have an update to that breaking news that we brought you at the beginning of the show, that derailment at Penn Station. We'll take a live look right now from Newscopter 7. This is not what you want to see for the tail end of the morning
it's just sitting there.
The train stopped. This is outside of Secaucus. We'll check in with John Del Giorno to see what the situation is like on the rails right now at 10:30.
From New York's #1 News with Shirleen, Mike, and Sam, Eyewitness News Mornings at 10 continues.
Hello and welcome back to the bottom of the hour and back to the top of the news. John Del Giorno at Newscopter 7. We have been following what has been happening at Penn Station with New Jersey Transit suspended in and out of Penn Station because of a derailment. John, I see the train moving right now. I understand. Are you near Secaucus? What is the situation right now?
We are right by Secaucus, Mike, and good morning. This might be a little deceiving. So what happened at Penn Station, they are calling this a minor slow-speed derailment outside of Penn Station, New York City, and that happened just after 9 o'clock this morning. But when that happened, it was in a spot where the trains can't get through the tunnel and into New York Penn Station. So all service from New Jersey into New York Penn had to be suspended. Now, we arrived here over the scene about 20 minutes ago, and there were 3 trains stopped here just north of Secaucus Junction. Those trains have just been allowed to proceed through the tunnel. But as I pull the shot back and we bring it down towards the Secaucus Junction station, what you're going to see are empty train tracks. There is nothing now between Secaucus all the way down into Newark Penn Station. So as it stands right now, the latest is that service remains suspended on New Jersey Transit and Amtrak into New York Penn. Midtown direct service, that's being diverted into Hoboken. Meanwhile, New Jersey Transit is cross-honoring on the path trays and over onto the bus service. Back down to you guys.
Very thorough, John. Just one quickie, because you can see everything from there. Are we backing up on bridges, or are we doing okay?
So far, we're doing okay, Sam, but I can tell you, Lincoln Tunnel is probably a little bit heavier than it would be at this time in the morning. Normally, by now, you see those delays start to wind down. I'll spin the camera around to the right. You'll see this delay still out to the New Jersey Turnpike. We translate that into about a 30-minute delay. That's a lot for 10:30 in the morning.
All right, John, thank you for being there for us and showing everybody what it looks like.
Thank you, Johnny D. As for some of the other stories developing over the last few hours, we want to head up to the Eyewitness Newsroom and check in with Joe Torres. Hey, Joe.
Good morning, Shirleen. Great to see you guys here on the debut of the new 10 o'clock show. But we've got some headlines topping the hour right now. A man stabbed in the East Village right around 6:15 this morning. That happened near the intersection of Avenue A and East 9th Street. As of this moment, we don't know if there was some kind of argument that led up to the attack or if it was unprovoked. What we do know, doctors expect that man to be okay. Police say the suspect took off on a skateboard. This is in the same location a man was stabbed last Friday, late Friday night. No word on whether those 2 attacks are in fact connected. To the Upper East Side we go in a police search for a man who shoved a 74-year-old onto the tracks of the 68th Street Hunter College subway station. That elderly man escaped with only a couple of cuts thanks to an MTA employee in the right place at the right time. Eyewitness News reporter Janice Hugh, she's been covering this story throughout the morning. She's on the Upper East Side with the very latest. Janice.
Good morning, Joe. You know, this could have been a completely different story had it not been for that MTA employee who was quick thinking and saved that man from the tracks. Luckily, that man managed to escape with just a cut, a small cut on his hand. Again, things could have been much different. The 74-year-old man was standing on the number 6 train platform around 12:15 this morning. This was all inside the 68th Street Hunter College station. Now, authorities say a man shoved the elderly man onto the tracks, but there was no train coming at the time when this happened. And luckily, an MTA worker who just happened to be there was able to pull the man to safety. And police have not yet tracked down that suspect. He is believed to be in his 30s, about 200 pounds. Authorities say he has a dark complexion and was wearing black pants and a tan T-shirt at the time that he fled. And we did talk to some subway riders this morning who say they hear about stories like this one far too often, and it's a reminder to stay vigilant.
Kind of like just disbelief or shock. I can't really, I just don't understand why it happens, but, you know, kind of, it's not going to prevent me from using the subway, but it's just really, it's unfortunate.
Well, authorities do say they saw the man, the suspect in all of this, was seen screaming at himself just moments before he shoved that 74-year-old man onto the tracks. Joe?
Scary situation there. Glad that man's going to be okay. We're going to have that story, certainly much, much more still ahead on Eyewitness News at noon. In the meantime, we'll send it back to the studio. Shirleen, Mike, and Sam, to you.
All right, we'll check back in over an hour. Thank you for that, Joe. Man, 3 days.
This is nice now,
3.5 inches of rain. Look at us.
It's not bad right now. Yeah, it's a little bit of a break. Now, tomorrow we're back into more rain, but enjoy this for right now because we all need to dust a little mold off our shoulders and dry out the rainbows. Let's get to the door. We are 70 degrees outside right now. We've got mostly sunny skies, and isn't that nice because we haven't been able to say that for days now. In between the storms, we may have seen a little bit of sunshine. Our winds are calm out there, so it's very humid. We're barely moving this humid air around, and we've got a rip current risk out for later on tonight into the overnight and certainly for the next couple of days because I'm going to show you that hurricane that's making its move up the eastern seaboard over the next couple of days. Just a few clouds passing by right now, but look how beautiful and open that sky is. Here's our front. This is the front that's bringing the rain in tomorrow, but the other thing that front does is bump that hurricane and keep it off in the Atlantic, and that's super good news. So we'll take that drier air behind it once that front moves through. We'll even take the rain. That's the entire day today and how dry it is up until about 3:45 in the morning, and then look at this line of storms. So when does that cross? It's right around 7, 8 o'clock in the morning when this line of rain, and I think it'll extend a little further into New Jersey, and there's more back behind it for the day tomorrow. So as we mentioned at the top of the show, when they tell you how much water is in the air, they use a line like precipitable water. How much could fall in the way of rain? And we could have as much as 2 inches of rain in a storm or two if they go through the same area, but it's more likely anywhere from a ½ inch to 1.5 inches in some of these storms that come through during the day tomorrow, but start at your morning drive. So we'll go to 80 degrees by 2 p.m. We're not done. We'll go to 82. This is what's left of Lee. Now still a 3, but it's going to weaken as it works its way north. But if you look at the spaghetti models, and that's every model that has the path of Lee in its eye, you can see how close it is to the East Coast, looking like it's going to go to Nova Scotia before all is said and done, maybe as a low category hurricane. So with that passing by our shoreline, we are not going to take our eyes off of it. We will watch it pass in the Atlantic. We'll get a rough chop. We'll get some water at high tide cycle, a little extra water on the coastline, that kind of thing. Can't even get some wind, particularly out east, though. 82 degrees is where we are for a high temperature today. It stays fairly dry today. Overnight tonight, it's still humid, about 68 degrees. And then for the day tomorrow, 76. Now, remember, there's a big line of rain that comes very early in the morning tomorrow. So tomorrow is another wet day, and it's an AccuWeather alert day. The commuter alert part of that is that those storms come very early in the morning. But if you're looking at those sunny skies and you're liking that, the one thing I want to show you as we step further into September, look at the temperatures. Look at where we get to with that. Oh, no. See this 73, 74, 75? So we were just coming off of that steamy, sticky heat where the temperatures were so hot in the heat wave, and now we're finally stepping into those 70s.
Dare I say sweater weather?
I might be getting close. It might. It might.
I just wanted to say.
I like it.
Sweater weather.
Sweater weather.
All right, plenty more to talk about. And up next, we are welcoming the 4th member of the Mornings at 10 team. Danny Beckstrom is going to be joining in on the conversation.
Yeah, still to come, a stolen Van Gogh masterpiece that's been returned in a way that could be more mysterious than how it disappeared in the first place.
Interesting. And New Jersey will be rocking again tonight for the MTV Video Music Awards. And there are 2 musicians who will be vying for more accolades than anyone else. You probably can guess who they might be.
Hey, welcome back. Eyewitness News Mornings at 10. We want to to welcome our very own Danny Beckstrom.
Feels so good to break in the chair.
Oh, I love it.
I think I'm the first person sat in this chair. They wouldn't let me touch Mayor Adams' chair, though. We're getting a new one.
Well, it's good to have you. You got this interesting story about this piece of art that went missing, but it's how it disappeared that's like,
One of my favorite parts about this new show is that we get to kind of bring up the stories that you might already be talking about, and this one I love. Because one of my favorite things that I did this past summer was go to the Van Gogh exhibit at the Met. And so I've been in this Van Gogh world, and I hit the jackpot with this story. Check this out. A Dutch art detective dubbed the Indiana Jones of the art world, what a name, has just recovered a stolen Van Gogh painting worth $3.2 million. And that's not even the craziest part. Wait till you hear this. Arthur Brand, that's the detective's name, found the painting called Spring Garden 3 years after it was stolen from a museum in the Netherlands while it was shut down for COVID.
Yeah.
Check out how he discovered it. In a blue IKEA bag.
No way.
Wrapped with bubble wrap and stuffed in a pillow cover.
Wait a minute, what?
Spring Garden by Vincent van Gogh. It was stolen 3.5 years ago on Van Gogh's birthday from a museum in the Netherlands. We have searched for it for more than 3.5 years, but finally it's here. It's back, and I'm going to hand it over in a couple of minutes to the museum director. And afterwards, I'm going to have a drink with all the police officers who were involved in recovering this beautiful piece by Vincent van Gogh.
Wow. So allegedly, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Having just been in Amsterdam.
That's right.
Van Gogh.
Oh, sorry.
Van Gogh.
Well, I can't. I couldn't possibly.
Wow. Bless you.
Bless you.
I got it.
Hearing you say it like that, I just reminded of my trip.
Allegedly, he got a hot tip. Someone told him.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Wait, what time? Does this timing line out? When were you there? Just saying, we gotta have some questions. But I thought IKEA, and I was thinking, are the instructions also in the bag for these like furniture pieces that you try to put together?
There was the canvas, there was the frame.
Then you had to put it together with a little wrench that only they have.
I don't know what takes longer, finding the missing art or putting together the kids' furniture. Anyway,
well, IKEA is a little more affordable than a $3.2 million. Okay, going to another form of art. It's a big night in Newark tonight, of course. The MTV Video Music Awards. Want to get that right. They take over the Prudential Center.
It's me.
All right, my main woman, Taylor Swift. The woman you saw there could clean up. Taylor, along with SZA, tie for the most nominations this year, including ones for Album of the Year, Video of the Year award, Taylor Swift for Antihero. I think Taylor Swift and the weather, those are my two great passions in life. And Taco Bell, those are my three great
No, I beg to differ. Also your iPhone. I have been near you. Apple products introduced their new iPhone 15, by the way, and it is one of the biggest changes that Apple says that they are going to put in here is the new charging port. And immediately you're thinking, I have to buy a new charger, so am I. So it's the USB-C, guys. Is that what it is? That means you can charge all of your devices with the same charger. It also means that if you go to a friend's house and they have an Android platform, you can use their charger now. You'll be able to pre-order the new iPhone being on Friday. There have been a lot of leaks. So I feel like if you go out there and search, you'll find everything you need to know about this new phone because everything's already out there. But this whole charger problem, and it's because Europe went with it first. Europe was like, hey, there has to be one charger for the devices, so you can't keep charging people overcharging for chargers. You can't keep doing that. You can't keep making people pay for it.
So will this end the berating of the family members who have the Droid phones?
No, that never ends. Even though your cameras might actually be better, we will never actually admit it.
I'm not supposed to say that in public. Come on. I do think that every time I do too. I think, why? I love my iPhone, but
chat awful.
Nick Goldberg has an Android, and so our weather group chats. He's always green, but his pictures are always the best.
They are. That's all I can say. But now we all have to buy one more new charger, I guess, or one more new round of chargers.
Guess I just placed a bulk Amazon order yesterday of iPhone chargers. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
So now I have. If anyone wants 4 old
wow, the old ones.
I get them in 2 days.
I'm sorry, Danny. Sorry.
I lose mine all the time anyway, and I still have these.
I got a few for you.
Getting hungry, we're approaching the lunch hour. How about some neighborhood eats?
Love that.
Today we're going to cook up some arepas at a restaurant in Queens, and you kind of want to see this. You check it out. Right?
I'm excited.
I've had them in Venezuela.
Yeah.
The owner shares his very special secret ingredient, and it might not be what you expect.
Nice.
Well, everyone who knows me knows that I love to cook food.
This is true.
I love to eat food. My West Indian mother used to always say, your eye's bigger than your stomach. And because of that, we are so excited to be featuring our Neighborhood Eats segment right here on Mornings at 10. We're taking you to Jackson Heights, Queens.
Okay.
Have you ever had arepas?
Oh,
yeah,
many times.
Live in Miami. And
Yeah, so many of my friends are Venezuelan. You got to go to the real places, though.
Let's take a listen.
My name is Alejandro Osorio. We're an Arepa Lady. The restaurant we started maybe about 9 years ago. We were originally a food court that my mom started maybe about 30 years ago. She used to be on 78th and Roosevelt, so just like a block and a half away. I mean, the ingredients are pretty straightforward, just like corn flour, cheese, love. It's not so much the ingredients, it's the work that you put into it. Like, you have to come in like at 5 in the morning, you have to prepare the dough, knead the dough, because we still do everything by hand here in the basement. It's arepa de chocolo. So what it is corn on the cob. We ground it up. We make that batter you see right there. You grill it, and then afterwards we serve it with a white farmer's cheese. So it's gonna have a slight sweetness to it. And then the smaller one you see there is arepa de queso. So that's we grab corn flour, hominy, and inside the batter we add mozzarella cheese. And then same thing, you grill it, and then you add the white cheese on top. What people really like is the chicharrón, which is it's like a smoked pork belly. My mom really liked when she used to work the cart. It's like she was able to cook the stuff and like give it to the people right away and see how they enjoyed it. And food is just like an expression of love. And we live here in the community. We enjoy what we're doing. So I mean, we want to keep doing it, hopefully for a while.
Oh, I love that shout out to his mom, the original Arepa Lady.
Yeah,
I like that
so
too.
Cool.
Yeah, the family history behind it. You heard him talk about getting up, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I could just imagine. And you can probably relate, growing up with food and being such a main soundtrack to your life, about how it connects so many generations.
It's so true. His mom had never even made arepas before, and she had to figure out a way to make money for her family. So she figured it out really quickly, and as we've tasted, arepas are really good.
They're amazing.
And each different country
has their own little different version. Like, I feel like, some are doughier and some, are smaller in their size. Also, I think I need to say that when we do Neighborhood Eats, there needs to be Neighborhood Eats. we just need to have the eats of the Neighborhood Eats on it.
John,
just want to make sure the producers heard that.
Duly noted. We're making notes on this debut.
How to make the show better.
For more Neighborhood Eats, just head to our website, abc7ny.com/mornings at 10. You won't get the actual food, but at least, you'll get the places that you need to go to.
And now you know where to go to get it.
Yes. That's awesome.
All right, so when we come back, a look at what we're planning on tomorrow's edition of Eyewitness News, Mornings at 10.
Oh, man, look, seeing people outside, extra pep in their step. They're thinking, okay, it's sunny. We got a nice day.
They're like, what's going on in the studio?
Yeah, we might as well talk a little bit about it because this is our dry day. Tomorrow, when we're back on with everybody, we're going to be talking about the morning drive and how miserable it was because we're getting another round of rain at that point. Let's show you what it looks like outside. It's 71 degrees outside, and as we can see in our Street Friends studio, and you can see, it's sunny right now. So 71 in the city, but look how warm it is just west. Newark is already to 80 degrees. Look how cool it is up the Hudson Valley, 68 in White Plains, 69 in Poughkeepsie. That great-looking sunny sky stays with us now. There's just a few clouds passing on by, but I'm going to favor the sunshine for the rest of the afternoon. We'll get to 81 degrees by 2 o'clock this afternoon. By lunchtime, particularly in the city, we're still holding into the 70s, but we'll get to 82 for a high temperature today. Just want to show you a look at the 7-day plan so you can kind of structure your week and know that tomorrow, yes, we're talking about more in the way of storms, particularly early in the morning, and that may linger into mid-morning. Still have some, probably we'll have some when we're sitting here talking to everybody to look at. But look at that. Look what happens after that. What do you notice when you see that sunny sky? What do you notice?
It's fall, baby.
Yeah, baby. We're tapping into the 70s. So, Mike, what is it?
Sweater weather. Sort of. We're getting there. We're getting it. Light sweater.
All right.
Day one in the books, guys.
I can't believe it.
Hope you had as much fun as we did on this inaugural edition of Eyewitness News Mornings at 10.
Go ahead.
Tomorrow morning, we got a great guest tomorrow as well. We've got New York City Chancellor David Banks. He's going to be in. We're about a week into school, and so we're going to talk about how things are going. And parents, if you have a question for the Chancellor, go right now to ABC7NY. Let us know, and we will ask him for you.
Also, tomorrow, 7 on Your Side's Nina Pineda will be on set discussing a series of new phone scams and why younger people are falling victim to these complex scams. You're not going to believe this setup because you think younger people won't get caught.
Right, but they're becoming more and more sophisticated. And Nina Pineda always has the best advice.
Always on our side.
So please, please join us tomorrow. That is it for today's edition of Eyewitness News Mornings at 10.
That's right. Eyewitness News returns in an hour. From all of us here at Eyewitness News, thank you so much for being part of this historic day. Hey, you know what? Let's do it again tomorrow. Same place, same time, same family.
Last 5 seconds.
I love it.
Wow, guys, have a great day. This has been fun. Thank you.
Watch Finding Inspiration Kids in the Arts Sunday at 5:30 on Channel 7.